Drinking water all day at your tournaments and still feel tired? What if we could hydrate you from the cellular level? At BioWorks Mobile IV Service, our licensed professionals understand what it takes to get through a long day of exercise. We use all natural vitamins to increase hydration, recovery, and prolonged athletic endurance. Help your team get to the podium. Book now by texting the number on your screen or calling today. Call 972-948-8207 to book now. That's 972-948-8207. BioWorks. Hydrate. Win. Repeat.
In the Pits is partnered with Podrunners Union. Podrunners Union breaking news. Super limited Union Tech tees and, for the first time, Fiesta medals are available online at podrunnersunion.org. Use offer code PITS for 10% off of your order. Stealing pods for undeserving teams. It's a living. In the Pits is partnered with XTPL Events. The Extreme Tournament Paintball League is a series put on by the Lukow family of paintball fit fame that gives the opportunity for players to learn and grow together as a team. 3-man, Challengers and Champions X-Ball, Draft Mech X-Ball, and even Youth 3v3. There's something for everyone at XTPL. Not to mention prize tosses, raffles, and the infamous paintball munching contest. Events happen throughout the year, and the prizes never disappoint. Sign up for an XTPL event today on PB Leagues. In the Pits is partnered with Hydra. Designed by players for players, you can outfit yourself in Hydra gear from head to toe. Have confidence that when you make a purchase from Hydra, you are purchasing a well-tested and well-thought-out product, trusted by several top teams, including first-place semi-pro team PaintballFit.com. I personally recommend their Hydra Black knee pads. Purchases over $100 receive free shipping. Head to hydra.fit to browse their selection and discover the Hydra mentality. In the Pits is partnered with BEM Wraps. Behind every mask is a unique and creative player. Tap into it when you order your next custom headpiece. Their Build-A-Band lets you communicate with them one-on-one to make your order just the way you want, all the way down to the color of the stitch. Check out their Instagram at BEMWraps for drops and build videos of them working on orders. They offer very competitive pricing, so reach out today to get started on your own one-of-a-kind headpiece. In the Pits is partnered with Mariachi Águilas de Oro. Based in Austin and servicing the surrounding areas, these Golden Eagles will bring life to any event you are having, from birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, corporate events, or even a simple performance to enjoy. Guillermo Padilla, one of their trumpet players, is also a member of the Texas paintball scene. Visit them on Facebook and Instagram to check out some of their past performances, or give them a call to book them for your event today. In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with 71 Designs, owned and operated by veteran Wade Martin, and partnered with fellow Texas brand Compete. 71 Designs can take your ideas for soft goods, merchandise, and casual wear and make them a reality. Message 71 Designs on Facebook or Instagram to get started today. In the Pits is partnered with Get Dat Shot. Get Dat Shot is now scheduling photo and reels coverage for teams competing in the upcoming NXL Lone Star Major. Head to GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram to check out his previous work or to shoot him a message to secure your media coverage today. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message at Paintball Kumite on Instagram. Welcome, everyone, to episode 93 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene here in Texas, from professional players and teams to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week, we'll have a short and sweet episode with a new topic and a new special guest. I'm Christian Dallas Smith. I'm a player for the Texas Titans, and this episode we are going in the pits with Adam Bradford, pro field referee for the NXL and longtime Texas head referee. Adam, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good, Christian. How are you doing?
Doing great. We just not too long ago finished up with a very successful USXBL. I think that we can all agree that it was probably the best USXBL event that we've seen in a very long time, and just like that, we're like 3 weeks out from NXL Dallas. So it's a very front-loaded season that we've had so far.
Yeah, there's not much time to take a break to kind of, stress relief, unwind. It's kind of just grind it and go right back to it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, whoops. I just noticed that I didn't change the nameplates from the last episode. So I'm going to do that right now. You are not Benjamin Schrader from Outlaw. There we go. Okay. Just shows you how busy we've been the last couple weeks. All right, so yeah, let's get started. This first question is brought to us by XTPL Events. So, which I think there was a glow in the dark one this past weekend. Actually, were you repping for that one?
Yeah,
I
was there.
Nice. Those are always a good time. How did it look with the new paint that they had?
So it looked a lot better. You can definitely see the paint flying through the air. It did show up a little bit better. There still needs to be a little bit of work to done, but I think the best thing is just finding what breaks or what's fluorescent, glow for apparel-wise for that paint to break on it to show and be more revealing, because it is dark. And then, but JD did show me something at the last minute towards the end of the event, and I wish I knew it. So the only thing with the black lights is it does have like a reflective blue glow on your lens, where it kind of like it's there. It's kind of like you're looking through fog, so it's kind of hard. But if you take your JT thermals and just rip off the inner lens, it's clear. Like I took one of the guys that was playing, I took his yellow JT lenses and he had his removed. I put it on. I swear to God, it looked like I was looking through thermals. It looked like I was like Predator looks like this. Like this is what he sees.
I love it. So,
like everything it just popped.
So the yellow single pane's the move for the glow events?
To me, I'm going to have to build a JT mask and with that lens in it just for glow events only.
Just for glow. Yeah. I'm going to have to, I have a clear lens right here on my desk that's a single pane, but if yellow single pane's the move, then I'll have to do that for the next one I go to.
Yeah, if you see Sean Tenery, grab his and just look at it.
Absolutely. All right. So, anyways, this question brought to us by XCPL Event. So, for those listening that maybe don't know about you, how long have you been involved in the Texas paintball scene?
Let's see, like as in reffing or just like
just in general?
Picked up a gun.
Yeah, just in general.
I was probably in the 5th grade. So let's say probably 25 years now.
All right.
Been in for a minute.
Yeah. So what are some teams that you've played for during that time?
Nothing big name. I mean, back in the day, I was part of a team that I started up called Special Kids. And we were playing out of a local paintball park in Mansfield. And during that time, that's when there was teams like, the only team that really sticks out to me right now would be called B-Slap, which I believe Zimmerman was part of back then. Mm-hmm. That was kind of like our rival there for a little bit. And then we merged into another team called Cold Fusion. And that's where it was a lot of like different people from everywhere. We had like one guy from Dallas Roots. He was on our team. We had some like JD. He was on the team. Like he wasn't even the owner of the team. He was just on the team playing. Like he got done with his team that was Steel Talons back in the day. And then he was on the team. We're all on that. And we're rolling Cold Fusion for years when the US XBO was just AXBO. And we did that for a couple years. And then we went to Apex Predators. And that's about where I ended right there. Couple little 3-man, just hanging with the guys here and there, but nothing serious since then.
Right, for sure. I know a lot of people know you like mostly as a referee, but I don't know how well known your playing history is, so I definitely want to start with that. But before we get into it, tell us like what got you into paintball to begin with.
It's one of those backwoods stories. I had a friend that I met down the street. He just moved in from like Indiana, and this was, like I said, I was in the 5th grade, so way back. And they just had like a tote full of like Titman 98s. And I was like, what is that? There's like, it's paintball. I was like, what's paintball? And so it was like me, him versus like his dad. We went and took some railroad ties, built a little fort in the creek, and we're just like defend the fort, whatever. And then we just kept doing that. And of course, we had to go refuel our CO2 at the local paintball shop, which was, elf boot shoe repair with JD. So we had to keep making runs back and forth. Eventually, JD was like, "Hey, we have a 3-man tournament. Y'all should come try it out." And then, yeah, it kind of just spiraled from there.
Oh man, yeah. The addiction starts and it grows really quickly. And especially if you're around JD, I'm sure like his energy is just all about paintball. So it's not hard to get addicted when he's one of your surroundings.
Yeah, 20 years ago, it was worse.
I don't know how. I mean, shoot, what everything he's got going on now with XTPL, Paintball Fit, Hydra, like, man, it was worse back then.
When he had less responsibilities.
Oh man. Well, I definitely can see that from him, but yeah, I mean, determined man for sure. And look at everything that he has now because of it.
Yeah, he will not give up. Yeah.
For sure. So, yeah, in the chat, looks like Doc is saying the new paint at the XTPL Glow event glowed a lot more than past events, and he also said the team Why So Serious had awesome jerseys at that.
They did. It looked really cool with all the ha ha ha.
Oh, was that one of the orange teams or?
The orange, there was an orange and a neon team that both had it. It was where it had the ha-has everywhere.
Nice.
It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, those are dope. All right. So this question is brought to us by Pod Runners Union. So what are some things that have changed within the Texas scene, either for better or for worse, during the time that you've been in?
I mean, nothing's changed too much, in my opinion. The only thing that's really changed is just the formats of how things are. I mean, Texas is a really big tournament scene paintball venue. I mean, you got to think about it, like a quarter of the pro bracket is from Texas. So it's a very competitive state. So, I mean, there's plenty of room where like a lot of different leagues are opening up, starting on things. So, I mean, there's always different leagues that are trying to implement what they see fit for their tournament, stature. So, I mean, so there's just a few things how different promoters want to do different things differently. But then there are some that are just like straight NXL rule book. That's it. And that way it's like, okay, there's an actual book and here's the rule. Everyone can see it. But I mean, outside of that, nothing's really changed except for just the level of competitiveness. I mean, like guys that have been playing for 6 months now would equate to what took someone 2 years, like 10 years ago. So it's just a high competitive state where, in my mind, it's going. Like I'll see people and like they're like, this would be like my first tournament. I'm like, really?
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot, especially from Texas now, where guys that are first coming in, and I you know, pretty much every episode, it seems like now I always harp on the fact that there's a lot more like organizations that are sticking around for longer periods of time. And because of that, they're giving these players like an actual space to learn the fundamentals instead of like it was probably pre-COVID, where a new player would show up on the field and everybody would use that opportunity to go bunker that guy because that was like the opportunity that they had to go bunker someone.
Or he was just shunned from the field, like, nah, dude, like you can't be a part of this or whatever. Now it's more open to where, like, I feel like that part has changed tremendously, where it's now, I mean, unless you're like on a specific time frame where you're trying to do drills or whatever, like anybody can run with anything, or at least that's how I see it, where like no one's ever on the same team forever. Like every team, every month or every event, you will not see the same roster goes from here to here. It's never that.
Oh yeah. And I think that's huge. I mean, like for myself, this is year 4 for me on the Texas Titans, where it was like, you wouldn't really see that anywhere else back in those days. But now it's like, it's pretty standard. And if someone makes a move, like even the biggest move I think in Texas this season was Greed splitting up into Greed and the Beefy Boys, I would say. And even then, like, it's like a majority of that core has been together for such a long time.
Yeah, like I had no idea. I thought that was like one of their new like average lines or whatever. And then I found out that it was actual split. And I was kind of like, what? Where's the T on that?
Yeah. And even then though, like you're still seeing the results of all of these organizations sticking together. Like look at Vegas in Division 4 X-Ball, 3rd place, 4th place is Houston Zone and the Texas Titans, who were battling it out in D5 X-Ball all last year in Bunker Fest. So it's their first year in D4, which is not an easy division by any means. I think the jump from D5 to D4 is quite significant, and these guys are still top 4.
D4 is always going to be your loaded bracket, because that's where you got the people that know what they're doing, they're here, and then you got the people that are like don't want to go up to the next level, they come down. So like that's the bracket to break.
Or at least it has been historically, I think, in Texas especially. But now that there's a proper like Division 3, we're starting to see that pressure alleviated a little bit, where those players are actually playing D3 and looking to go D2.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, but because I see some of these guys, I'm like, dude, you've been like D3 for like 5 years. How are you still here on D4?
Looking at you, Evan Stein.
Like I'm looking.
All right. So this next question, you're mostly known as one of the best refs in the game, but I definitely want to cover your history as a player. So on your PB Leagues profile, which took forever to find, but I did find it, you played a few seasons with Apex Predators, who a lot of those guys are now the Pro Team Paintball Fit. And then you've done a few small events in 2018. So tell us more about like the divisions that you competed in back in the day, as well as if you had like any significant accomplishments or like top tournament finishes in there.
So a lot, my time was before PB Leagues and all that back in the day. So I think my biggest accomplishment, which sucked when it was happening because we were on fire. So we were Cold Fusion, I think like the first year in which Cold Fusion transitioned into Apex. So this was like year 1. We came out swinging. So there was a tournament series back in the day called PAX, PACS. And I was like the main one that was consistently on the line. I think it was me, Sean Tenry, Chris Eastman, some of these guys you probably never even heard of, but there's a couple of us. And we came in on the 2nd or 3rd event. Like we missed it, but like we missed the first couple or whatever, because that's when we formed that. And we took first place 3 in a row.
Okay.
So like we were, and like it wasn't just like here or there. Like there was one where we went down to like, what was the name of that place? Like Tim Duncan bought it. It was like a paintball field down there. I think it was near Austin. I forgot what it was called. Like I said, it was like 20 years ago. But like we went down there, traveled, won first. Then we went up to like, I think Oklahoma won first. And then we went to Fort Worth at the Bohannon's place, on the run. We got first. And there was like another one. And then all of a sudden the league went down and was, next thing you know, they were dissolved before the championship even happened.
Man.
So we, but like all this was before the APBA, all that was even up. And then we did some other events, like I said, with the AXBL, and then I forgot what the other one was called. It was like the, not SPCA, or it was something like those 4 acronyms or whatever, but we were bouncing back and forth playing those. And then that's when we went to Apex Predators, and pretty much our 2 adversaries were Phalanx and AC 402. So we were playing them back and forth. Like it was always like us 3 in the top 5, always. And then we went to Louisiana for the championship, and we got first, and we won a free trip to World Cup under Apex Predators. But I couldn't make that event. It's by that time, you know, I had a girlfriend at the time, so a lot of my money was not available and work. So they traveled. I think they got out of prelims, but I think that was about as far as they went that year. But like, so like my mentality for playing is as big as I am. I always like to be the aggressor, like in chess. And the most lethalest thing you can do is be somewhere where they don't know you're at. So I'm the one, I can't, like, I physically, if you ever play me, if you lose me in last place, you know where I was, I'm probably not there anymore.
I mean, that's a good way to play.
Yeah. So, which sucks when you're like 6'3", like 290 pounds, but
hey man, being 6'3", sometimes you get to see some shots that most other people can't see. Like I'm unfortunately like right in the middle of like whenever I play, I'm that like imperfect height where I'm too tall to like be a small target to run to the snake, but I'm too short to actually see any really clever lanes off the break, you know?
Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, that was the day where we would go up to Fort constantly before it was Giant, where we were always constantly playing. So that by that time, B-Slap Factory transitioned into Smart Parts Factory, and we were playing them constantly. And that's when Rich and Gerald Garcia, you know who they are, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's when they were still playing on Oakland Assassins and Seattle Thunder and all that back in the day, Phillies. And like we would run games against them and win.
Nice. All right, so what I'm hearing is you still got it, and you're the reigning champions of the PAX series, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, there might be a lot of rust to get off, but you'll get there.
Hey man, there's with as many events as there are going on in Texas, I'm sure that that JD can give you one event to go play instead of ref.
Yeah, I told Johnny, I was like, yeah, the next 3-man challengers, because that's the funny thing, like all my first places are not recorded on APBA, so I can go play those. So I told Johnny the next one, I was like, it's going to be for fun, so like I'll probably play with like Sean, Robert Jordan, Billy Blaine, all them, just, you know, guys from back in the day. I'll probably play 3-man with them, probably on the next one coming up.
Be awesome to watch. All right. So
yeah, because I think the last one I did was like 2 years ago. It was, I think Yosh, he had pictures of it. I was like literally double old man style, double knee sliding into the Doritos, shooting. And then I was like yelling, like, get him out or whatever. He's like, and then Josh was making fun of it. He was like, oh, look at him trying to be a ref and a player at the same time. And he said he looked down the field and saw the guy getting up. He goes, holy shit, he actually shot him.
I love it. All right, so for everybody in the chat, looks like we got Omar here. He says Mata.
So Omar, I used to play, me and him, like the first time he started playing Omar was back in when I was like 16, so like 20 years ago. He was just showing up and I was having to like show him how to play back then. So He's one of the blast from the past.
Love it. All right. For y'all in the chat, welcome. If you got any questions, ask Adam. Go ahead, get your questions in there. We'll get to them throughout the show. So this next one's brought to us by BEMRAPS. So for me, for me personally, like I took Ahow's reffing class last year when he came down to San Antonio, and I've got an interest in it, but I also feel like my days of playing and days of coaching aren't quite done yet. So for you personally, was there a specific event that made you like kind of need to transition? Like, was there an injury or anything like that? Or have you always been more into that side of the sport?
So reffing kind of matches my responsibility or my personality, I would say, where I would always try to, I wouldn't say like be like the leader, but like this is how things should kind of go. Like I'm not saying I drive the speed limit or anything, but like I'm one of those persons that kind of like, we shouldn't do that kind of thing. So I always kind of felt like just make sure things are run correctly or done properly. Like, hey, this should be done this way. So I always kind of had that mentality, I guess you would say, like as a ref. But well, what it was, like I said, like at the time, I just bought a house. I just moved, got a car, got the girlfriend kind of thing. And so like, I just didn't have the funds anymore. So of course, during the recession times, I couldn't afford it, but like, I still love the sport. Then like one day, years ago, I think the AXBL, like Joe Stewart reached out to JD, say, hey, do you know any local guys for a ref? And then next thing you know, JD's like, oh yeah, Adam, he can do some, because we used to ref some of his events back in the day when we couldn't play anymore for when we were like Cold Fusion and all that. So I just got used to it. So I was like, hey, extra money can help, whatever. So and plus I'm still kind of involved in the sport. So I just kept doing that on and off. And then finally, like I probably backed out for like another year or two. And then all of a sudden I got asked again or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll go do it. And then one of the guys I used to play with back then, he was reffing that same event, and his name was Cody Nichols. And that's how I met Xavier. And they've been reffing PSP for the last couple of years. And then now they were reffing, obviously at that time, NXL. And they're like, dude, you need to go down, you need to take a ref class and go ref World Cup with us. And this was 2018. So I was like, all right, when's the next one? And they're like, next week in Houston. I was like, yeah, God. So I was like, so how to make the hotel reservations, drive down there, take care of that, drive back up, and then, of course, buy my plane ticket. And then since 2018 World Cup, that was my first NXL, and here I am. But it was all back then, it just fell because there was no injury, no nothing. It was just, at that time, it was just in a money scenario where I needed it, and I couldn't keep me away from the sport because I had so many friends, family involved. So it was like, all right, Wiggly's this way. I'm around y'all. I'm here. I get to hang out. So
yeah, and plus you get shot way more than you did as a player.
It feels like that way sometimes. But no matter what, I'm always leaving with money.
Oh, yeah. You've got a good point. You're leaving with more money than probably 95% of the players that are there. All right. Yeah. So you've only been a ref for the NXL since 2018. So when was it, I guess, that you made the cut to become a ref on the pro field?
So thankfully for the years, basically, I guess we used the Texas series, all the Texas events for like practice. So like, helping Rabikoff, Greg, JD, and XTPO, all of them, like just reffing those series back and forth, which were kind of big Texas series, especially back then. And I went to that class, and the main, I guess, I don't know what the title would be, but his name was CJ, and he was head of all the refs. Like, he was the guy that hired him, brought him in, all that. And I got to that class a little early, and I was the first one in there, and he was just asking questions, and like I answered them, And then he was just asking background, and I told him everything. And he just kind of stopped and looked at me. He goes, "I remember you, I think." And then we went to that. And then next thing at World Cup 2018, we were there, and he was asking questions to the head ref about me. And of course, and I think he liked what he heard. And then of course, for me, especially at that point in time, because I wanted to excel, I wanted to get to, the next tier, just keep going. Is after every event, I always ask my head ref, what I do wrong, what I do best, what can I do better? And it was kind of so I always show that initiative to keep going. And so then there are a couple times where a higher divisional field would need me. I had to go over there, semi-pro or D2, D3, whatever, while I'll be over here on D4 technically, because I'm still working my level up, because it's only my second event or third event, whatever it was. So I had to keep going up, but I kept getting dabbed in, just, thrown in here and there. And I guess it worked out. And then there was a whole thing with the NXL where a bunch of the head refs were no longer available. And just, people were just done with the sport that time, whatever. And they needed some head refs. And they asked me, it was between me and one other person to fill the last one or just a spot. And then I got asked, and then I took it, and then I just kept running with it. And then one day we're having an NXL dinner with some of the big heads, not like Tom or anything, but just right there in the middle. And I told him, I was like, hey, one day I just want to ref the pro field. Just, one event, just, I just want to say I did it. That way I can say, hey, I ref these guys, I was on there with them, I've seen it, blah, blah, blah. And then that night it was put in motion. I found out it was at an ICPL, I think in Chicago. And then, because me and Ahau, this is the first time I've seen Ahau once at a clinic, but I didn't know who he was. I knew he was the head ref. I never didn't even wave at him, didn't introduce myself, whatever. And then me and him were on the same shuttle going from the airport to Chicago for the ICPL. And then apparently he was already scoping me out, he was looking to bring some people up. And so for the next World Cup, or the World Cup, which was the next event, I was brought up, and he came up to me. He goes, because apparently I made an impact, I guess you would say, or just I shined a little bit where he liked what he saw in me, and he asked me. He goes, "If you want to stay, you're staying." So I was like, if you want me here, I'll stay here. I know I told Dan I told him, hey, just one time, but since then it's been 8 or 10 now.
So I guess the timetable, because it seems like that was a pretty quick ascent for you. So as far as how many, I know you have a ton of experience reffing locally, but as far as how many NXL events, from your first event to your first event on the pro field, about how many events was that?
Maybe not even 8.
Wow. So is what, probably a season? What, you did the 2018 Cup was your first one?
So the last event, yeah. So it was the last event of 18, and then all of 2019, I believe I head refed.
Wow.
And then that was it, really.
Dang. So even just going from a ref to a head ref seemed pretty quick.
Yeah, because they have 3 tiers basically, where that's how they just kind of judge everyone. You got tier, which is 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, 3 to 5, and then 5 to 8. Then after that, that's your max tier. And I didn't even make it to 8. I just went to, and I was up.
And when you say tiers 1 to 8, that refers to the number of
that's
events
how many events.
Okay,
that's how many events. Sorry. Each tier is how many events you ref.
Right. I know I'm a part of those groups just because I took the class, but I have yet to ref an NXL event. But it's interesting to learn kind of the structure when not many people kind of know from the outside looking in. what it looks like exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely, and like you can't take it all in one event either. It's like you have to like be a lost dog and like walk around and like see things, and then you hear about it, and it's just kind of like this is how it is. Like it's crazy. Like you just a lot of people don't see it until they do.
Yeah, for sure. So, in your personal experience, like how has it been going from a player in these leagues that you used to compete in? So, like, I guess NXL, PSP, um, the AXBL, which is now USXBL, XDPL, and Bunkerfest, to now being one of the top referees for these leagues.
Like Like, what do you mean? Like, what was the question? I was keeping up with
Yes.
it, and then I was like, I lost
So,
it.
so I guess how has the transition been going from a player to being one of the
Oh,
top refs for these same leagues?
so it's definitely different. Like, it does open your eyes. Because like well I was saying earlier, like every league's different. So like you take and learn different things, and you just have to institute it into the next one, and then you got to take a piece of that and just so like every league's going to be different, but then like all this helps for basically the main stage.
Hmm.
So like that's what I was saying. Like for before I started roughing the NXLs, like all these were like my practices, and then the NXL is like my tournament
Hmm.
for roughing.
Gotcha. So, and this question brought to us by Mariachi Aguilas de Oro. Do you feel like your days as a player helped you to become a better ref? And because I know, like, not every ref that you see at the NXL has played in tournaments before.
Um, a little bit, because I like to, when I'm roughing, I put myself in their situation. Be like, hey, if I was him, in my mind, I would say I would move or I would do this. So that would put me, so I would set myself up for it. Because what's the one thing that a player hates a ref doing over them? Bird dogging them, just being looking right over them. So I tried to, get rid of that. So like you might be 5 feet in front of me, and you're getting shot at. Everyone knows you're there, but like I see an opening or you're looking for an opening to go to this next bunker, so I'm going to move, because that way I'm not like running with you, because like they may not see you, but they see me, and now the ref just did something, so I'm going to look at that right now, and he's going to give you away. So I can already get set up and look not intense, so I can be like kind of just slouched, like, you know, that player is not going to pay no attention to me. So that I would use that player mentality to help me ref, to help you guys out by not bird dogging y'all.
Right. So just kind of anticipating the move so that you can already be in position.
Yeah, and which helps me out, because then I can see your full motion of moving. If you take something on the inside, I can help make that distinction quicker for you. Like if I need to pull you out, if I need to get checked, or if you need to get checked, and I can just get all that going, so I can keep you in your game. That way you're not having to sit there and be like, hurry up, paint check me, or hurry up, paint check me. And that way I can already have the determination, like, hey, you're good, or get out.
Right. So, in your opinion, do you think it's a necessity that refs like should have played paintball or played tournaments before becoming refs in order to do their job well?
I would think they would need to, only to understand the game. Only because if you go in just to do it, you're just there for a job, which, if you do it and knock it out the park, cool. But you need to understand what these players are playing for. You need that mentality. You need to know like what they're fighting for. They're just not out here just playing grab ass and then go. You need to understand what they're doing. You need to have the same appreciation. I mean,
Mm. No, it definitely helps to understand the stakes, especially like deep on Sunday.
Yeah, but like, oh, sorry, you're done. Get out of here. Be like, no, dude, I'm sorry, man. Dude, you were right there. Like, I like even me. Like when players walk by me, like I'll give them a little quick, like, dude, I saw that. That was so close, or you almost had it. You got 3 out of the 4, or whatever. I was there with you. I'm watching them. Like, that was cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. In the chat, Docs asks, how does someone become a referee? Where are the clinics held?
So, I think there's another one coming up at Fit soon.
I want to say there's one at Fit and one in Houston leading up to the event.
They should be on the PBLI or whatever, or APA, whatever it's called now. That shows you how much I look at that website. But I know they're on there. There should be NXL Ref Clinic. And I believe I posted, or NXL dropped some on Facebook. So you might be able to scroll through Facebook and you see the 3 clinics that they have set up. And I think 2 of them are in Texas. I think one somewhere up north. But I believe like Dan Perez, I think you just email him. I don't have his exact email in front of me, but I believe if you look on the website or Facebook, you should be able to find the contact email and just send him an email. He should respond back to you within a day's time at least, and he'll get you all taken care of, set up, and go from there.
For sure. And I believe that the pattern is they usually have reffing clinics like somewhere close to where the upcoming NXL event is going to be. Like I have the page up in front of me, and they had one just this past weekend at Paintball Zone in Houston. They've got one here, not this weekend, but next weekend at Paintball Fit. So those are going to be the 2 in Texas. And then May 11th through 12th is up in New York, which I believe is somewhat close to the, I guess it's the Mid-Atlantic major that's in Atlantic City now. Yeah.
I think it's up there for the next, I don't know for how long, but probably 5 years.
Right. Gotcha. So, and then here in the chat, let's see, after the buzzer, good old Robert Jordan, he says, BRIT, best ref in Texas.
Do not call me Brit.
There's definitely worse things to be called, which I'm sure you've heard on the field every now and then.
Yeah. See, that's the nice thing about my size. Not too many people chirp.
Right. At least he's saying best ref in Texas and not blindest ref in Texas.
Hey, don't make them start making that one.
All right, this next question is brought to us by Paintball Kumite, which is Colt Roberts' training regimen. So more on the subject of refs doing their jobs well. What ways do referees improve their craft, especially at the top level?
Just be, well, everyone should understand their job assignments. They have to be familiar, because even on the pro field, we do not always have the same refs from one event to the other. So that's on us to make sure that we know who's working around us, know their mentality, ask them like, hey, what are your pros and cons? So I know what I'm dependent on from you and what I need to look out for you, and make sure that cross communication is always going. And one thing that's always over us, anyhow, he will let us know what our thing is that we need to be on top of. So, I mean, that's the main thing up there, is just communication, and awareness. And if you're not doing those 2 things after a event or 2, if you're not there, or you're not up to par to stay up there, you're probably on the bottom of the list.
Right. And I think something that people don't understand, or at least players don't understand from the ref's perspective, is how much communication there is between the refs to make sure like zones and individual players are like constantly covered. And especially on the pro field, where you have so many, like I think there's 14 refs on the pro field, and just how much communication that takes.
16 now.
16 now. Wow.
Yeah. So we got AHA on the tower, usually 4 laydowns, maybe if we can, back lines, and 4 or 5 on the sides, and that's it. And so it's just because on that stage, things happen so quick and they're gone.
Definitely. Definitely, especially with the new layouts, which I definitely want to talk a little bit about coming up. But this next question is brought to us by Bioworks IV. So I want to talk about your involvement in the game currently. So you obviously ref the pro field at NXL. You also referee local events like USXBL. Last year you refereed Bunkerfest. You ref the Star Series, XDPL. So do you also do any traveling to referee other leagues like the WC or Tri-State or anything like that?
I've been asked to do the dub Cs and all that, but I have a full-time job where I work 11 out of the 14 days. So like I have to work every other Saturday. So if there's 2 events in Texas with the NXLs, there's always going to be 2 events a month. Even if it's just like one night glow event or whatever, or one day MechX. So like my schedule, I can't do it. Like I only have so many days I can use for, time off to fly out to these events. So those are pretty much just the main ones, just because they're local, where I don't have to take that much time off or no time off. Like even for like the ones in San Antonio, like I would leave from work Friday, drive straight down there, ref 2 days and drive straight back, and then wake up at 5 a.m. to go to work. So my schedule, like last year from February to November, I only had 2 day weekends to myself.
Man, I can't imagine how that looks this year with how many events are in Texas.
Yeah. So this weekend, I'm taking it as a boys' weekend. We're going to Oklahoma and we're hitting the lake.
There you go.
Because it's about to get rough after this.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure the last month and a half has been pretty packed, because I know XTPL has had an event pretty much every weekend, like whether it's MechX, Glow in the Dark, Champions, Challengers, like the USXBL event. Like there's something pretty much always going on at
Star
FIT nowadays.
Series. Yeah, there was like 5 events before like February was over with.
Jeez, yeah, it's insane.
But I mean, but it's just crazy because not a single one of those was really ever the same division, same series. It was something different. And that's just how many different things that field or just what Texas can offer. You got your MechX, and you got your Glow, then you got your divisions, and you got your Challengers. And then here comes Star Series and USBL. It's like, how many different things we got here?
For real. I mean, the grind don't stop. We got no off season here in Texas, but it's showing on the main stage. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Here in the chat, we got Dan Shelley says, so thankful for how much work he puts in. Congrats on the Las Vegas wedding.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Robert Jordan, he says, ref clinics should include reffing the BCIT, best cheaters in Texas.
No.
It
should be a highlight reel. Be like, look at these, and don't let this happen.
Oh yeah, definitely. This next question is brought to us by FU Athletics. So, throughout your entire career in paintball, do you have a single favorite moment so far?
Like as in roughing or just in playing?
That is entirely up to you.
I can't believe I didn't give this some thought. I mean, I would like to probably say right now, just the group of guys that we travel with on the pro field. Like when we travel, like we always are usually pretty good at staying together. So like usually for like Florida, they put us all in one house. Believe me, that house was a disaster at the end, but but like those moments are pretty cool, like because they take care of us or whatever for the pro field refs, where they fly us out and put us all together like that. Those moments are pretty nice. So I would like to say, I mean, it's not an in-game situation. I mean, I got plenty of those, but I mean, nothing's different from the other. But I think that's probably like the best part of just where I'm at in my paintball life right now, I guess you would say, is just the group of guys I've developed that, 4 or 5 years ago, never would have met them, never would have seen them. Next thing you know, I got these guys helping me surprise my wife to be. So like I had them, they helped me out and plan all that out and did it on the spot and married the next day. So, paintball, it helped me get married. So just with that group of guys, with Ahau, Timmy, all of them.
That's incredible. It's just, it's not really very often, is it, like the moments on the field, like sure, people would have like this huge play that maybe they made in the finals to win it all or whatever, but it's pretty much always about the outside of the nets with our guys.
Yeah, when the games are playing, you're watching. I'm not saying you're watching, because obviously watching and reffing are two freaking different things, but that's for people outside the box. That's the TV on. When the game's on, the TV's on. Once the TV's off, you go out, talk, have fun, whatever, all that. So like that's one way of looking at it that way. But yeah, I've seen some crazy things where people pull off like 1-on-4s, 1-on-5s, all this stuff, and it's like, even in my mind, I'm like, I'm not making a motion, but like in my mind, I'm like, damn. Like I look over, I was like, he just did that.
Right. And especially with the front row seats that you have, I can't imagine some of the situations that you've witnessed.
I've seen some crazy things, like, and it's funny, I try not to do it, but like when I catch people wiping,
mm-hmm.
when I discover it, and like I make sure that's what I just found, I don't do it intentionally, but I laugh. Like, and it's not like it's like a, and then I'm gone.
Right. It's like the audacity.
Like, yeah, a little salt to the wound. Like I don't do it on purpose. It's like, holy shit, you did do it. Sorry.
No, you're not apologizing at all. Maybe you're apologizing to his friends. You're like, hey, sorry, your teammate sucked, but
it's like, which one did that idiot? Go ask him.
Love it. See, anybody who's listening out there, see, these refs aren't actually looking to go screw you. They're not excited because they just got a 4-pack on that point. But
I've seen some.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the dumbest thing I ever saw in my life, I think it was last year at Bunker Fest. Like, if this dude didn't move, he would have been crystal clean. I just look over and like I'm in the 50. I'm starting to do the back center. I just turn my head and I see him looking down with this tank right here, and he's just, and then he goes, and then he did it again. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I ran over there, and I have this. It was caught on camera too. So like I screen recorded. Like I went back in the webcast or whatever, and I found it, and and like you see me go up, and I just grab his shoulder, and I just went like this to him, and you can see him just look at it, and he's just walking out the bunker with his head straight down. I was just like, that, if you didn't move, I would have saw it.
Oh man. I love it just whenever you watch someone and you're like, you're not as sneaky as you think you are.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times like if you see something, you look at me, like if you're on the sideline, you see something and you look at me, you might see my head turn like, did he just do that? No, he didn't. So like I'm trying to think like, no, he's not retarded or whatever. I'm like, he's not that. He was.
Oh man,
I'm trying to give you a benefit of the doubt, but you're not making it easy on me.
You were very kind to some of these players, because I would not be giving them near that much benefit of the doubt.
Well, especially when they're like D5 or whatever, I'm like, no, you're being a little shit. Come here.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All right. So this question is brought to us by 71 Design. So I've previously had Ahau on the show, and we talked about his reffing philosophy, but I want to hear yours as well. So is there any tidbits that you can tell the show as far as how you think the game should be reffed? Either if it's like positioning of the refs on the field, number of refs, how proactive they need to be, like communication, like anything at all that you can tell us.
Well, depends on who you have on the field is how many you need on the field depends on the division. So like I told you, like we ran our D4, D5 on Lone Wolf for the USXPL with 7 to 8 refs. And we did that all day. But we were very communicative. We had everyone in the right spots. Like I walked with a couple of them, just make sure, hey, let's do this, let's do this. You know, just make sure we're cross-checking. And I mean, did we miss stuff? Probably. I mean, but to my knowledge, from the feedback that I got from players, from Mike, from even Paintball Fit, where it was like Johnny, JD, and them, they said they heard the least amount from our field. They were more compliments than anything else, and that was just because of. I'm not saying the other refs weren't doing their jobs on the other fields. I'm just saying just how I would like to just keep it going, just keep it going, and make sure these guys are taken care of. Make sure, you know, because when I did have my 8th rep finally show up, I just had him sub everyone out all day just to keep, you know, people loose, fresh. That way we're not worn down, and that's how we already keep going. We're able to keep the communication going, and mentally everyone was probably drained after the first day because I think that was like a 15-hour day, but from sun up to sundown. But we were able to maintain it. So, like in my mind, I like to hit it hard in first thing in the morning. So, I always say this as a joke to my crew on whatever field I'm at that I'm head reffing on. I tell people we're not here for them to run over us. So if you see something, you flag it all day. I was like, I want to see a major in the first point, if not the first set, just because I want them to know we're not taking this BS today. And they're on the wrong field if they're thinking they're going to get away with this. So we got to keep that mentality of them thinking, okay, we got to play this clean, and we're going to do it clean, and we're just going to keep playing. And because they're looking at us, and I don't want refs just, you know, because that's one thing, because we don't pick who's going to be on my field. You know, I might get my one, like, who's going to be my co-ref, and that's about it. After that, you know, they gets divided up equally. So some of these guys, I have no clue who they are. They're still refs at every event I have never met before. So, like, I don't know their mentality or anything, so I always tell them this is what I expect, which is the communication. I go over the basis of what we expect. Like, if you do this once, you need to keep doing it all day. We're not going to change. You're not going to not throw a penalty here and throw a penalty on the exact same play. I was like, it needs to be consistent across the board. And that's one of the next biggest things is consistency. Is that we just, whatever we come on the field at, we need to keep it right here. We don't need to change it in the day. It just needs to be consistent. And that's the biggest thing is communication and consistency.
For sure. And something that I hear sometimes is like some refs will maybe enforce rules differently depending on the division that they're reffing. Like if they're reffing a Division 5, they might be a little bit more lenient on the rules versus like a Division 3 X-Ball event. As far as your thoughts on that, like I know when I took a house class, one thing that he was saying was like, not only do you have to think about it from that player's perspective, but like the player that they just cheated on the other side of the field's perspective. Like, how is that going to make them feel, I guess, or their perception when someone just maybe like they played on and you call it a trade, or they got hit, you know, on their pack 2 bunkers ago and you're just pulling them out instead of throwing the minor. Because at the same time, like that is affecting the game for the other side.
So that's one of the biggest things that I kind of laugh at. Is years ago there was the penalty of unobvious and obvious hits.
Right.
That's not a thing anymore. And people to this day still argue it. So in my mind, There is ref discretion, and it's sometimes it's just how perceptive the ref is in the situation of what's going on. Like, is it a bunch of new guys in blue jeans on the field, and one got shot in the pack, and he just moved up on bunker, and the ref finally saw it? It depends on the game situation. Yes, technically that is a minor, but this dude's playing D6 and he has no clue what is going on, and his eyes are so big you can't even see his face. It depends. Like, I can vouch for, like, hey, just pull him out. I get it. But at the same time, they're not heavily invested. These guys that are playing D3, obviously, y'all are more invested. Y'all have been doing this for years. You just didn't grab your homie from you just met backyard party the other night. Hey, let's go play this tournament tomorrow. No. Y'all are a little bit more invested. And then, yes, that's when I would say definitely all eyes are on, and there's no slack given, in my mind.
Do you have, I guess, a line that you draw as far as where to be a little bit more or less lenient?
So, like I said, it's all perspective into the thing. What I was just saying, like, in my mind, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, honestly, there is no line. So, I mean, if the penalty is deserved and I see it and it's going on, it should be assessed. So, but like I said, like, it just depends. If I was going to be lenient on, like, a little kid on a D6 that's on, like, the Mech X line or whatever, that's one thing. Like, he was shot in the pack and I just saw it, I'm going to try and get him out of there as fast as I can. But outside of that, most people know what they're doing. Like, when you start playing, like, D5, D4, mostly everyone knows what they're doing by that point. They know what they signed up for.
For sure. Yeah, there's definitely a huge difference between just playing like D6 3-man and like even D5 X-Ball and USXBL. I think you're at that point where hey, you got to learn the rule book one way or another, whether it's the easy way or the hard way.
You'll remember this for the rest of your days.
Yep, definitely. All right, let's see here in the chat. Oh man, Robert. Oh, Robert. Yeah, he says, "Be nice to me because I'm old and forgetful. I promise it was an accidental. It was an accident that hit disappeared."
See, there's a difference between old and forgetful or being a wise ass. Old and wise.
Yeah, Robert, I think you got too much of a reputation. I mean, you're the one handing out initiations to the BCIT club, so I don't think you're getting any sympathy for the rest of your playing days, sir.
Robert, I swear to God, if I play a 3-man with you and I get pulled because of some shit you just pulled, you will be shot before you're going to get shot again before you walk off the field from me.
Oh, man. So kind of along those lines. So this question's brought to us by Hydra. So all the time you hear players complaining about referee bias or, oh, these refs are out to get me, and it's usually after they get several penalties or maybe they lose a match. So do you care to dispel any of those rumors?
It's not a thing. Honestly, in my mind, I wouldn't say help, but like, I'm pulling for that person so much so they have good luck, so I don't have to hear it. Like, I'm looking out, and I wouldn't say I'm looking out for them like a guardian angel or whatever, but like I'm hoping something good happens to them, because also I want to see if they do win an event, like if they're like, man, the refs are always out to get us, blah 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 blah. First off, no, we're not. We're there to do a job and leave as fast as we can, because we're not hourly. We get paid by the day. So we're trying to push through it as fast as we can. We want y'all to have a good event, and believe me, whoever wins. That's not predicted by anyone by all means. If it is, it's not ran through me.
You hear that, Dynasty haters? Like, it's not on Adam.
No. So like, yeah, they're like, so those teams like, for like all those, oh yeah, like just like you were saying, like, oh, refs are for Dynasty. No, we're not. We want to see someone else win so y'all can stop saying that shit because we do not care.
Yeah, I think I hear that even more on the local level. Like, I know in the past, maybe there's been a misconception of public opinion of like, oh, we go up to the fit events and the fit refs are going to help the fit teams, like, you know, things like that. But
No, it's always funny because like a lot of the refs are like the same ones
right.
at these events. It's me, Timmy, Ahau, and then some of the other guys from the pro field. It's the same ones. We're always at XTPLs, USXPLs, or whatever's around Texas. And they're like, oh, it's the same. It's like, oh, it's so much better over here. We're like, we were just there.
That's the same guy.
Yes.
It's like, what do you mean? That's the same guy that was croning you on and off the field for the past like 2 seasons now.
Yeah.
Like, shoot, like I most of the time, like I head to an event, I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, Ahau? What's up, Adam? Like I know most of these refs by name at this point.
It's like I said, it's the same ones. It's like, hey, they had so much better reffing at this last event. I'm like, it's the same group that was there last year.
Right, exactly. So, just for fun though, is there any specific players or teams either at the local level or at the pro level that you just know that you have to be, let's call it, extra vigilant for?
Like more eyes on, like, hey, I know what he's about to do.
You're just like, whenever you see them walk onto the field, you just put that flag in your hand just so you can be ready.
So I'm not going to talk about like current, but like some of these guys that show up every now and then, like Ben Challenger, Jeremy Zimmerman. Whenever they make an appearance, I'm like, there's 9 other people in this field, but I'm not looking at a single one of them until you're whenever they show up for like a MechX event or like a 5-man, that's something that's going on around here. So whenever like someone like that, you know, there's someone that's played for the years and is just kind of hovering around, just kind of in and out, I'm like, no, I played against you 20 years ago. I know what you're doing, damn it.
Oh man, I remember when I did Ahau's episode, like Jay-Z came on Facebook and he was commenting like, man, this guy Ahau, like every tournament that I've played, yeah, I've tried to cheat him and he's like got me every single time.
Yeah, I remember one where it happened right in front of me because even me and Ahau were talking about it, and like even Ahau had to like do the whole like, did he just do that? And then like Zimmerman, like soon as that set was over, came over. He's like, man, he was smiling from ear to ear. He's like, man, I thought I was going to get away with it. And then I just look over outside. I was like,
oh man,
yeah,
at least he
he's a good sport about it,
right?
Yeah, he does. Like he would come off the field and be like, he'll be mad for a second, and we'll just kind of give him like that side eye like that. And he'd be like, like, don't look at me at the moment. I'll come to you later, talk about it.
For sure. So more along the lines of refereeing the events themselves. So what are your thoughts on let's call it the uniqueness of the more recent layouts? So have they, with the changes in the bunker sets and all that over the years, have they made it easier or harder to ref?
So like the one at Vegas, that was definitely a challenge a little bit. Just because of one where it's not a perfect mirror anymore. It's like that, whatever it's called. And it's because whenever someone's like, hey, check that Dorito 2, you're like, and no one says which side, like Dorito, like you can't say snake side or Dorito side because you're like, which one?
Right.
So it does kind of throw some confusion in that. Because like for us, because we have on the pro field, we fly refs. We got refs from Mexico, the UK. I mean, they're coming from Canada, and no one has the exact same name for these bunkers. So it's like when someone says something like at that first instant, you know, the Dorito side or the snake side or whatever, it's kind of like which one right now. So that's why that also comes in the key with the communication for us, because we have the radios. We can say, hey, that person's name, hey, check that 302. So like that's where it's kind of like, oh, okay. But like for like the other fields that don't have radios, that can't communicate, and they're not 100% with everyone's name that's on the field, it gets rough. So like, and of course, with more laydowns, that's in my mind, I don't like it because that's more people getting on their bellies, which means getting rid of more sliding hits. Because there was one at the glow I just did, like where this dude, he literally got shot on his thigh about this far from the ground as he was sliding. Like I barely saw it just break off. But when he stood up, I looked right where it just hit and it was gone. So when you have more opportunities for these lay down bunkers of those beams to slide one off, it makes them a little bit more difficult.
Definitely. Yeah, and we'll see how the addition of all these snake beams are going to continue for the rest of the season. I don't know if they're going to do another with these like reverse mirror layouts for the rest of the year, but I could definitely see them putting snake beams everywhere on the field. So we'll see.
Why not just have like, horse jump in the back center? Just put a can and like two of those in the middle.
It could definitely do that. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, or just not use all the snake beams.
Yeah, all right.
So yeah, this next question is one that I ask everybody that comes on the show, and for anybody that's here in the chat, go ahead and get your final questions in because we're coming to the end of our show. So this one is one that I ask everybody that comes on. It helps kind of keep in the know about any up and comers or anybody flying under the radar out there. So this question is brought to us by Get That Shot. Message him on Facebook or Instagram if you're needing media coverage at the upcoming NXL Dallas Major. So is there anybody in Texas, either teams, players, brands, projects that have caught your attention lately? Who in the Texas paintball community do you think deserves more recognition for what they're doing?
I mean, that can go so many different directions. I mean, because there's a lot of people trying to like make their own brand, and they're going about it. They're just consistently going. And like with you and your project, I mean, you're growing that. Like you were just talking about earlier, it's like you had a busy week. That's a good week. So, but in my mind, I mean, I would say there's two people, obviously, or two places, two names, really. Is one just Paintball Fit. I mean, they're always growing. They're always trying to change. I mean, they got the whole glow thing this year. So that's an experience that they heavily invested in. They're taking a lot of their downtime, which they have none of, and they're just putting up all the black lights, putting in the time to these drafts that they do. They just keep it going. There's always promoting. They're bringing in teams to help expand the teams. Like they're helping teams grow. I mean, I don't think like Shut Up or Trying. It's one of the biggest teams that's big around Texas right now. Like they have the most people on that roster, and it's because of what JD and Sarah from Paintball Fit. They're helping them, giving them facility. I know they're also up there at Avid Paintball Park up in Oklahoma. Like they expanded up there as well. So so like between Avid and them, I mean they're helping that organization grow. But for them to put their foot on the ground, they started at Fit. So I would of course, there's a lot of other teams that Paintball Fit, help sponsors. Like there's teams I see walking around, I'm like, and I see like a Hydro logo or whatever. I'm like, I have never seen that jersey in my life. Who are you? I would say I think they are. And then the other would just be Mike Hemman for coming in and doing what he did with the USXBL. I mean, that was, when I saw the team roster, I was like, this is gonna be a long weekend. When I saw those teams on there, and it showed like there was no room to walk from one field to the other. It was packed, and of course all the money they dumped into the tents, just new equipment, everything, just all the drones. It was unreal that they had webcast on all three fields. I mean, it's yeah, I haven't seen that in a while, really.
Oh, yeah, definitely two individuals with the Lukow family and with Mike Hinman just heavily investing into the scene here in Texas. And I mean, like even USXBO with all that investment to growth, like we're already at capacity. Like just imagining what it's going to take to like expand upon that. Like what are we going to put up, like fields 4 and 5 at Fit? Like what's going to be the next step? Like
yeah, the field 4 is going to be where the airplane went down and the Mad Dogs upstream.
Yeah, it's like there are what, like 91 teams in USXBL or something like that, like 90 something. And
it was, yeah, just outside the X ball, which was like over 50 plus, and I'm not even counting the regular 3v3s and all that. It was it was a good weekend for paintball that
definitely.
week.
For sure.
And hopefully, like, I don't know the back end of it, but hopefully it was a good viewing and showing for everyone, and hopefully more teams hear the word of it and come down.
Definitely. It's definitely an exciting time to be in Texas. It's like as big as it's ever been. And I mean, shoot, we're bursting at the seams. So
yeah.
For sure. All right. So Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for your time. This final question is brought to us by Compete, which is Jell Stewart's brand. Message him on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits for 10% off of your order of soft goods. So Adam, thank you. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
I mean, no, we pretty much covered everything. So I appreciate you inviting me on and having a trip down memory lane there. And yeah, I mean, I'm always here if anyone, even outside of this, has any questions. You wouldn't believe it, but a lot of people actually message me on Messenger, or just if they have my number, text me, and they're always asking, hey, if this call does this and this, and they're trying to like hopefully find out that the ref that just gave them the bad call was an idiot, and I tell them what it is, and they're just kind of but no, just if anyone has any questions about anything, or like I mentioned earlier, when I went out a paintball and I couldn't afford it anymore, and you just want to be involved, take one of these ref clinics, get involved.
For sure. And I mean, we had 3 fields and we're bursting at the seams here in Texas. Like we need more referees to accompany all of that. So if that's a way that you're wanting, maybe that's how you can stay involved in the game, or, explore a new way to kind of contribute to the community. We're always looking for referees at these events. So especially if you've ever gone to complain about a referee, like go ref an event and you'll see very quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot of times I'm like, try this once or twice, because like we even had for a year there, like 2 years ago, we had Ben Challenger when he was reffing with us a little bit at the USXBLs. He was like the worst ref we had, and he was a pro player. Just kidding, Ben. But it does take it is a little bit different.
For sure. All right. So I think that does it for tonight's episode. Adam, thank you so much. And everybody online tuning in, thank you so much. Be sure to go follow Adam. That's at adam.bradford.13 on Instagram. I know he doesn't post all that much, but you can, go follow him there. So what other guests would you all like to see? Oh, what was that?
I said there's like 4 photos from like years ago.
I love it. Yeah. So what other guests would you all like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below. While you're at it, hit that subscribe button. The show goes live weekly here on youtube.com/@inthepitspaintballpodcast, and recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. I want to give a shout out to my partner and sponsor tier subscribers on Patreon. FU Athletics, Get That Shot, Paintball Kumite, Compete, BEM Raps, Hydra, XTPL Events, Mariachi Águilas de Oro, Podrunners Union, 71 Designs, and Bioworks IV. We will see you guys next week for episode 94, where we're going to have Pate Smith, who is well known as a sponsor of the NXL, often puts up prizes for move of the event, move the prelims, and all that. Also a member of the Texas scene, plays out in Houston with the other TKO team. And we'll get him on next week. So we'll see you then. Adam, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.